Yo, what's up, everybody? This your boy Baker Joe with another one, man. Let's get down to business. As we were talking about this bombshell New York Times article that came out regarding Rachel Nichols. Now, a recording by Rachel Nichols came out, and basically, for all intents and purposes, she made some disparaging, backhanded comments towards Maria Taylor, her fellow ESPN colleague. They're saying comments still rippling through the network. The reporter Rachel Nichols, who's white, said Maria Taylor, who's black, earned a job to host the 2020 NBA Finals coverage because ESPN was feeling pressure, quote unquote, on diversity. Now, mind you, this was a job that Rachel Nichols wanted. She wanted to be the host of the NBA Finals, doing the countdowns and the halftime shows and all that. She did not want to be the sideline reporter. Well, a pre-show call with Taylor and other commentators, Jalen Rose, Adrian Wojnarowski. You remember Adrian Wojnarowski was suspended earlier that year for the comments made towards U.S. Senator Josh Hawley, right? And those comments were made on Twitter. And Jay Williams, as well as NBA Countdown staff members, had turned acrimonious. Jimmy Pitaro, ESPN's president, had several conversations while at a family event to try to smooth things over. Some of those involved saw the initial maneuvering as a sign of the network favoring Nichols, despite a backdrop of criticism from employees who had complained that the sports network had long mishandled problems with racism. It had declined to discipline Nichols, despite fury throughout the company over her remark, which she made during the phone conversation nearly a year ago after learning that she would not host the 2020 NBA Finals, as she has been expecting, right? Because why would a black person who's qualified and who's earned her stripes and she goes through the ranks get this opportunity over someone who's been with this network over years and I'm white and I say so. I came back to this company after leaving CNN because you guys promised me that I was going to get this job no matter what. Now, ESPN has been trying and often failing to deal with the scandal for months, but a fast approaching deadline is forcing the network to at least show some of its cards. All right. Maria Taylor holds all the leverage here. Her contract expires later on. And I think this is part of the reason why we're seeing this now, for the simple fact that Maria Taylor's contract is expiring. She is a hot commodity, and that ESPN will have stiff competition to keep her services, right? Because was it not say that Fox Sports won't try to contact her, or CBS, and they will give her prominent roles within their networks, right? But she's going to make ESPN pay for their sins. Now, she says she's looking for Stephen A. Smith type of money, which is damn near $8 million a year. The company offered her $3 million a year to stay, right? So, what you going to do, ESPN, right? What you going to do? Now, Taylor's contract expires during the NBA Finals, which starts tomorrow. Yet few substantiated steps have been taken towards a new deal, even though Pitaro has identified Taylor is one of his rising stars. Now, whether or not they agree on a contract, the internal damage has been substantial. Now, ever since Rachel Nichols took that dig, um, Maria Taylor had initially declined the offer to go to host the NBA countdown coverage and things like that. Now, she initially declined, but then she had a change of heart. But it was under the pretense that Rachel Nichols be nowhere near anywhere Maria Taylor is during that coverage. All right. But as we're going to see, as I'm going to pull up here later, ESPN, for all intents and purposes, reneged on that part of the deal. ESPN made Rachel Nichols the lead sideline reporter, right? Which to me is a disgrace because they have a more talented sideline reporter in Lisa Salters, who is very much well could lead the sideline reporting duties. And it's not like they're like devoid of options. They got Lisa Salters, they got Cassidy Hubbard, right? Hell, they could put Doris Burke in that role. But no, Rachel Nichols had to be in that role, right? Now, this supposed leak came out during the time when they were dying the bubble, right? What a lot of people like to call the Mickey Mouse reign. Now, mid-July last year, she was staying at the Coronado Springs Resort at Walt Disney World near Orlando, confined to her room for 7 days because of COVID-19 protocols. She had with her a video camera so she could continue appearing on ESPN shows, primarily The Jump, a show she's hosted since 2016. But she was eyeing hosting duties for ESPN's pregame and postgame shows during the playoffs and finals, the network's most important studio basketball programming. That host is the face of ESPN's NBA coverage, and before the pandemic, both she and Taylor hosted different versions of the show. Now, about the time Nichols arrived in Florida, she was told by executives that Taylor will host coverage during the NBA Finals. Now, Nichols discussed her career on a phone call on July 30th, 2020 with Anna Mendelsohn. Now, Anna Mendelsohn is the longtime LeBron James spokesperson and James' agent, Rich Paul. What's up, Coach Jester? Now, Nichols was speaking to Mendelsohn to request an interview with James and his Lakers teammate AD, who Paul also represents. During the conversation, she also sought advice from Mendelsohn because she believed her bosses were advancing Taylor at her expense. She's like, I just want them to go somewhere else. It's in my contract, by the way. This job is in my contract in writing. Referring to the hosting coverage during the NBA Finals a few minutes after ESPN was quote unquote feeling pressure about racial diversity. So let's listen to this shit.
Safe or sporty?
After this ad.
We want a hybrid. So do Pants. Today, they're taking a smarter hybrid approach with IBM to personalize experiences with Watson AI while helping keep data secure. So he said to me, hey, instead of hosting NBA Finals, what can you do to this summer or have NBA Finals? So I have clients. I don't know what they're
See, now what kind of backhanded comment was that? What kind of backhanded comment was that? See, this is bullshit by this woman right here, Rachel Nichols. Now, Rachel Nichols, this is not the only incident when it comes to this woman, right? She, when Kobe Bryant passed away from that horrific helicopter crash a year and a half ago, right? She brought up the man's rape allegations, right? Or the rape case of Kobe Bryant. Now Kobe Bryant ended up beating that rape case, but it didn't matter to Rachel Nichols, right? Then before that, you had Derrick Rose. He dropped a 50-point game when he was a member of the Minnesota Timberwolves, and then she brought up his rape allegations. And this woman's disgusting, right? Then then there was a segment on The Jump when they were talking about the Washington Mystics. Now they were in the WNBA Finals that in 2019, right? So when they were in the WNBA Finals, they were supposed to play their game at the then Verizon Center, but they ended up getting moved from the Verizon Center over to George Washington University, right? Their court their arena out there in DC. Now, on that episode of The Jump, she talked about how, well, the Mystics were moving because they were doing renovations to the stadium in DC. So to support that, the Mystics currently playing at George Washington University. All right, so that was bullshit. All right, what really happened was Drake was holding a concert at the during Capital One Arena that conflicted with the Mystics playing the WNBA Finals game. Right, so Monument Sports, because Monument Sports is the entity that does the scheduling for what events take place at Capital One Arena, which is now called. It used to be the Verizon Center, now it's called Capital One Arena. All right. So Monument Sports does all the scheduling, all the logistics, all that stuff, right? They made the decision to move the Mystics from Capital One Arena, or at the time it was called Verizon Center, to George Washington University because obviously Drake would bring in far more money for the arena than the Washington Mystics. That's the real reason why the Mystics moved. It had nothing to do with renovations and all that other bullshit that Rachel Nichols, her lying, deceiving, disgusting ass was spewing out on TV. And look what they tried to. And look what they tried. This, this is the same thing that Jeffrey Toobin used when he got busted, beaten off during a Zoom call back in January. It was not clear why her camera was on, but most people at ESPN believe that Nichols, using new technology during the pandemic, did not turn it off properly. It was effectively the remote pandemic version of a hot mic incident. Do you guys really? You can't make this stuff up, man. You really cannot make this stuff up. So we're going to blame equipment. We're going to blame the equipment, right? We're going to blame operator error for Rachel Nichols spewing out her anti-black racism, right? Because what kind of backhanded comment right there is that right there? She's a racist, okay? And nobody can tell me otherwise. What kind of, and then she egged on the beef between Kwame Brown and Matt Barnes. and Steven Jackson. Remember that shit? Just a few short months ago, because ESPN and Stephen A. Smith and them jackasses over there at that network couldn't keep Kwame Brown's name out of his mouth. And then if you had then there was an episode on All the Smoke where Jeannie Buss, Matt Barnes, and Steven Jackson, they were all talking to each other, and they talked about the trade that went down. Because remember, Kwame Brown was a member of the Lakers back then. And they talked about the trade for Pau Gasol, how Jeannie Buss alluded to the fact there were 3 people in that trade. And Matt Barnes is like, no, there was 2. Right? They were just, pissing and crapping all over the name of Kwame Brown until Kwame Brown had enough of it and then started clapping back at these folks. The Stephen A. Smiths, the freaking Stephen Jacksons and the Matt Barnes of the world. So when Matt Barnes went on the episode of The Jump, Rachel Nichols basically, for all intents and purposes, tried to egg on that beef. And this is why I fought Matt Barnes, because Matt Barnes should have checked her on that shit. Instead of taking the bait and let this thing fester and let these white supremacists call themselves trying to steer the conversation and try to egg things on and try to try to continue instigate this shit for clicks, views, and debates and shit, he should have checked the ass right there on set. You got white people always interjecting themselves in black people's struggles and shit. Anytime this is a petty beef, okay? Let's just tell the truth in this motherfucker. There's way more important issues out here in America to talk about than some petty beef between 2 black people. But this is what white people like. They like to see us go at each other. This is why we always why we're always saying being on code. We keep our struggle within our own circles, right? That's what it pissed me off when we calling out these black folks out here for their buck dancing and they shucking and jiving and they cooning and all that, and then you guys you Johnny come ladies want to run around here and talk about, oh man, you just doing a break, you just out here, shitting on another black man, bringing another black man down. Well, what the fuck was that, huh? When these motherfuckers out here doing the shit they doing wrong, you calling them out for bringing another black man down, but you want to come up here and attack me? Fuck you, bitch. Sit your ignorant ass down somewhere. Now let's get back to this regularly scheduled program. We're going to blame the operator error for the fact that Rachel Nichols running around here spewing out her anti-black racism because of a job she wanted. I'm white and I say so, and it's in my contract, and they can't take this away from me. That's the whole reason why I came back in the first place. I wish Maria Taylor Austin success in the world, but this is my job and she can't have it. At least one of these people who watched the video on the server recorded on a cell phone and shared it with others. Soon, copies of the conversation were spreading around ESPN, and within hours, it reached ESPN executives, in part because of some of the comments made from Mendelsohn. He's a prominent political and communication strategist who's worked for the giant private equity firm TPG. He was also a communication director and chief of staff for Arnold Schwarzenegger, who was then the governor of California. He's a co-founder of Change Voting Rights Groups, More Than a Vote, which focuses on encouraging access for black voters during the 2020 election. Now, in this recording, Nichols and Mendelsohn paused for a moment during the conversation after Nichols said she planned to wait for ESPN's next move. Mendelssohn, who's also white, then said, I don't know, I'm exhausted. Between Me Too and Black Lives Matter, I got nothing left. And then she laughed at that. See, now, LeBron, now, if you got this white dude who's supposed to be your spokesperson talking about he is exhausted between Me Too and Black Lives Matter and all that, right? Then you need to get some new blood in there. You need to get a new spokesperson, right? You need to get a new spokesperson, LeBron, because that right there is unacceptable. How could this, we over here trying to fight for black rights and all that, but he's exhausted, right? Which tells me that this motherfucker's a racist too. Because because I'm pretty sure this is not the first time he spewed out his anti-black racism. When he was his fellow white colleagues and all that, and he's not tired, he's not exhausted from spewing out his anti-black racism. He's not exhausted from doing that, but he's exhausted between Me Too and Black Lives Matter, right? You need a new spokesperson. That is the bottom line. I'm waiting to see what LeBron James does with this. Now, let's play this other clip after these ads.
Tailor-made or one-size-fits-all. IBM is helping insurers do both. Using AI on the hybrid cloud helps them predict their clients' needs with personalization and speed.
Just fucking disgusting. Now, what the fuck does she mean about that? What the fuck did Rachel Nichols mean about that comment right there? See, this is white privilege at its finest right there. ESPN, this shit right here, you mean to tell me that you didn't find nothing wrong with this? She never got, now mind you, Rachel Nichols never got disciplined for this. Never. Now they disciplined the person that leaked the audio, right? But they never disciplined Rachel Nichols. Think about this, y'all. The person that leaked the audio was the one that got disciplined, not the person who made the audio. So, what are you doing, ESPN? Are you practicing a cover-up? Because if you're disciplining the person who leaked the audio, but not the person who caused this audio to even be put in the atmosphere in the first place, then you're practicing a cover-up. You tried to cover this up to protect this woman's image. What's up, Mr. Pazzer? And that's disgusting that you guys were sitting up here doing this type of shit, right? Y'all want to sit up here and cover for Rachel Nichols making disparaging comments, but you won't give them. And this is another thing. right? Because I'm gonna show you another article that the New York Times dropped about the employees and former employees talking about how racism exists within ESPN. Now, tell me, like LeBron James, if you ever watched this video and you the comment right there that his spokesperson made, that motherfucker need to be fired. That motherfucker don't need to be a LeBron James spokesperson. Fuck out of here. They fired Paul Pierce for Paul Pierce being on Instagram and all that. So let me get this straight. Paul Pierce was on Instagram, on a video on Instagram with his wife, with some strippers around, and y'all fired him. But Rachel Nichols can make disparaging comments like that, and y'all cover it up. Really? That's what y'all did? Okay. What's up, Quincy Randolph, G Nation 23? He wasn't the only. I haven't seen it. I gotta look at. But if you say that's what it is, then shame on Steven Jackson for defending Rachel Nichols, right? And that fat butter biscuit motherfucker with the crumbs off the side of his lip, Jason Whitlock, putting on his fucking scrappy dude cape defending Rachel Nichols. Why would you guys go out your way to defend a white woman, but you got a fellow brother, right? You have fellow brothers out there and a fellow sister out there who she made that disparaging comment toward, but you want to defend Maria Taylor? Really? You want to defend Maria Taylor? This is fucking disgusting. It's fucking bullshit. For real. Now, throughout the conversation, he strategized with Nichols about how she should respond to ESPN. He's telling her to be careful because that place is a snake pit and all that other type of shit. Now, they went on to discuss the culture at ESPN's headquarters. They're saying that these same people who are like generally considered white male Trump voters is part of the reason why I've had a hard time at ESPN. She basically finally just outworked everyone for so long that they recognize it. She don't want to be a victim of them trying to play catch up for some damage that affected her in the first place. So she's just trying to be nice. Get the fuck out of here. Now, multiple black ESPN employees said they told one another after hearing the conversation that confirmed their suspicion that outwardly supportive white people talk differently behind closed doors. Now, in response to the Times, Nichols said she was frustrated and was unloading to a friend about ESPN's process, not about Maria. Well, it had to be about Maria because Maria was the only other one vying for the job. You fucking racist. And shame on you, Steven Jackson, for trying to play both sides. But I have to check it out for myself to see what Steven Jackson really said, and then I'll go in. But what these individuals put in the comment section, Code to Justice G Nation 23 saying is true, then shame on you, Stephen Jackson. Shame on you. You run around here talking about we should be on code, but goddamn it, what do you think Maria Taylor looking for? They're looking for people that'll stand with her on this shit. She's the victim here, not Rachel Nichols. Maria Taylor didn't bother anybody. Maria Taylor trying to do her job to the best of her ability. She earned her stripes. This leopard here apparently really had changed her spots. Maria Taylor earned her stripes. Maria Taylor went through the grind of covering football, covering basketball, and all that. She has more than earned the right to be a prominent host in that spot. And she went, well, ESPN just doing this because they're under pressure for more diversity. No, she's probably more qualified than you are, Rachel Nichols. And you can't accept the fact that she's younger, she's sexier, and she's more talented than you are. That's the truth of the matter. That's why she got the spot and not you. You damn near 50 years old, washed up, don't have, and then we're overpaying you for doing some shit. We can pay someone younger, cheaper, more talented, and more qualified. At least Maria Taylor played basketball at the University of Georgia. What did fucking Richard Nichols do? Has she played basketball? Huh? Maria Taylor played basketball at the University of Georgia. So, what did Rachel Nichols do to earn her spot? Just because she was there all this time and she covered all these players and all that, that make her qualified? Huh? That what you trying to say, Rachel Nichols? So Maria Taylor, let me understand something. I'll make sure I wrap this around my head. Maria Taylor actually played college basketball at the University of Georgia. You've never played basketball. She rose to the ranks at ESPN while you left ESPN, took a job at CNN. Things didn't work out at CNN, and you brought your ass back to ESPN, thinking that you just because I was a former employee and I'm back and I'm here to reclaim my spot because I'm white and I say so. Get the fuck out of here. My own intention in that conversation and the opinion of those in charge of ESPN are not the sum of what matters here. If Maria felt the conversation was upsetting than it was, then I was the cause of that for her. Now, she's reached out to Taylor to apologize through text and phone calls. Maria Taylor chose not to respond to those offers. Maria Taylor would not comment on it, and for all intents and purposes, she shouldn't have to comment. For what? Right? Because we all know what the mainstream media would do if Maria Taylor came out and responded to that. So good on Maria Taylor for not feeding into the bullshit. Because they would have taken her quotes, they'd have picked one or two sentences from her quote, and they would have ran with that. And then you had these jackasses out here, they would have attacked Maria Taylor. You say Stephen Jackson went on to saying black people need to stop blaming white people for them not getting opportunities. Okay, so someone should tell Stephen Jackson, hey, you need to stop talking. Someone need to tell Stephen Jackson he needs to stop talking, because the woman did get the opportunity. Maria Taylor did get the opportunity. It was Rachel Nichols who was complaining. So what the fuck is he talking about? See, this is why you don't need to have every black person speaking. Because they run around here doing the work for white supremacy. Just because you got a platform does not mean you have legitimacy. I'm going to repeat that again. Just because you got a platform from these major networks does not mean you're legitimate. So Stephen Jackson needs to go on somewhere with that. He on his own saying that shit. And of course, Rachel Nichols playing the victim card. Of course, because that's what white women do, right? Anytime these white women get busted for some shit, they're the ones the victim. Oh man, you shouldn't have played this. You shouldn't have had that camera in my face, or I didn't know how to work this camera. Get the fuck out of here, right? So of course she's gonna play the victim card, because that's what they do. Anytime motherfucker caught up in some shit, instead of just saying, you know, I apologize for what I said. It was, and I was completely and utterly wrong. And you know, I gotta, you know, there's a lot of things about myself I need to look at and take and do a deeper dive of. And I did not intend to hurt Maria Taylor. And she's not gonna say none of that. She ain't saying none of that. All she is, oh my, you know, she's blaming the camera, she's blaming, you know, the person that leaked the audio, all this other bullshit, as opposed to being honest with herself, and that she's a fucking anti-black racist. And for all intents and purposes, she got that job because of white privilege. Now, Rachel Nichols don't know shit about basketball. How the fuck does she have a vote for MVP and Defensive Player of the Year and all this other type of shit? Huh? How does she have a vote? She don't know shit about basketball. Just because you interview some players and all that, and all the other type of shit, right? Because nowadays these reporters don't just report the news. They feel the need to interject themselves and their own opinion into the matters of these players. They feel the need to go into these players' lifestyle, right? When these reporters out here talk about Russell Westbrook and calling them all kinds of names and shit, that's not reporting the news. That's not journalistic integrity. That's interjecting your own thoughts into the matter, and you're distorting and you're discrediting the quality of the content that's being put out on the airwaves and in social media. What's up, White Falcon 44, Rick Bad Boy James? That salute to y'all. Make sure you hit that like button when you come on in. Oh, and I almost forgot. Shout out to my sister Carla Jenkins through her donation through the PayPal. Carla Jenkins, if you're watching this video, I want to thank you for your contribution through the PayPal. You want to donate? There's my Cash App. There's my PayPal if you want to donate through the channel. And any donations is appreciated. Now let's continue on, right? Now, ESPN, you have this Krulitz guy that comes on saying a diverse group of executives thoroughly and fairly considered all the facts related to the incident and then address the situation appropriately. We're proud of the coverage we continue to produce, and our focus will remain on Maria, Rachel, and the rest of the talented team collectively serving NBA fans. Okay, for one, this ain't not but a bunch of goddamn word salad, for one. For two, and more importantly, why did you not discipline Rachel Nichols? Why the fuck does Rachel Nichols still have a job today? Why? Because had it been anybody else, they would have gotten fired. You fired Paul Pierce over an Instagram video, right? You go back a couple years ago when you had at the height of the Me Too movement, Donovan McNabb and Eric Reed was fired over their over their allegations of sexual misconduct, right? You fired Stephen A. Smith before. And I don't like Stephen A. Smith, but it just raises a bigger issue, right? Why do these white people feel they need to speak on black issues? Huh? What? That whole thing, a whole diverse group of people, get the fuck out of here. That ain't nothing but a bunch of goddamn word salad. You shouldn't have a whole diverse group of people look into the matter and all that. What should have happened was she got a supervisor. Why did the supervisor not fire her? Everybody got a boss. Everybody got somebody they got to report to. Why did the supervisor not fire her after that? And then not even fire her. You didn't even discipline her. You didn't even demote her to nothing for making that disparaging racial comment. We all know what it is. It don't take a brain surgeon to figure out what it's all about. It's all about that complexion for the protection. Or protection for the complexion. Now, let's go to another article, right? Similar article came out last year about ESPN employees saying racism endures behind the camera. In meetings and conversations amongst colleagues, ESPN employees have criticized the career pipeline and diversity of top leadership, eliciting a promise from executives to do better. Yeah, okay. Nationwide conversation over systemic racism and inequality have prompted a series of discussions and forums at ESPN where Black employees, many of them behind the cameras, have begun speaking out about the everyday racism and barriers they face at the sports media giant. Now, if you remember, at the height of the protests that went on last year during after the killing of George Floyd by Derek Chauvin, there was nationwide protests going on, right? Which prompted these so-called discussions, right? Because look, for all intents and purposes, these so-called discussions went nowhere, right? Because why do the actions still continue? You have people taking down statues. You have people taking to the streets. With all these uprisings in D.C., Portland, Seattle, New York City. No matter where you had, there was all these uprisings going on, and yet the actions still continue. You still got these you got these fucking Karens out here still running her mouth. You still got Brad out here running his mouth, spewing out their anti-Black racism. We still got cops killing Black folks unarmed, and nothing's being done about that. So these discussions that's supposed to happen, right, that supposedly went on, and all these statements out here that was put out by these companies alleging and promising that they'll do better, where's all that gone, right? Oh, we signed Juneteenth in the law. Big deal. Did that law only benefit Black people? No. Everybody got the benefit of Juneteenth. That law wasn't specifically for Black people. So mess me with the dumb shit. You think, see, a lot of you motherfuckers out there think we're stupid, that we just mindless numbskulls, we just supposed to just We supposed to just get whatever you throw at us, right? The fuck out of here. Now, remind you, ESPN had a documentary. Held this town hall meeting with black folks and stuff like that, right? They had a special. They had L. Duncan and they had Michael Leaves, right? Now, if you remember, Sage Steele wanted to be part of that documentary too, but they told Sage Steele to stay out of it. One, Sage Steele was nothing but a fucking bed wench, right? Who has a white husband, right? Two, Sage Steele is a Trump supporter. So when she was denied being on that during ESPN special when it came to when talking about the issues within the black community and all that, right? And the black struggle, she felt some kind of way about that. Now, Sage Steele tried to get fucking L. Duncan fired from ESPN, but instead, not only Sage Steele she did not succeed in that, she ended up getting demoted because there was a one point or another where Sage Steele was the host of these NBA countdown shows. Oh, but what's her face? Oh yeah, Rachel Nichols. She failed to mention that, right? There was a period of time where that buck dancing coon ass Sage Steele was hosting NBA countdown content, and she's black, right? So not only she got fired off of that, she did the 6 p.m. Sports Center. Sage Steele did, right? Now this was the time she was trying to get L. Duncan fired. Now, not only did Sage Steele lose out on the NBA content, not only did Sage Steele got removed from 6 o'clock Sports Center because that's the start of their primetime coverage. That's where a lot of people be watching Sports Center or ESPN product, right? She ended up getting demoted to like the 12 o'clock Sports Center. No, during the week. Now, what people doing at 12 o'clock during the week? They sure as hell ain't watching Sports Center. Most them motherfuckers. Most people at 12 o'clock during the week are at work. No one's watching Sports Center at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. Okay. That's what you get, you fucking bed wench. But anyway, conference calls and meetings they had over the last month. They have detailed their bosses and colleagues what they see as behavior and long entrenched practices that have led to embarrassing missteps and kept many career black employees from rising through the ranks at a company that devotes a significant amount of its coverage to black athletes. Key producers of ESPN signature shows say he's watched others be promoted so often that she advised some fellow black employees to leave the company to advance their careers. Now, why would you, like, if these people are so, now why would you tell somebody to leave the company? Huh? What's up, JMJ2121? Right? See, it just continues on and on and on. They've apologized twice in recent years for on-air segments that were criticized by employees and viewers as racist, including one that our company looked like an auction of enslaved people. Right? And it's bullshit. It's bullshit. So we're gonna do fantasy football segments like a slave options, right? ESPN, this was back in 2017 they did this, where they had they did a fantasy football segment where they had an auction draft, and this auction draft basically had black players being sold to white male bidders. But you leave it to these other jackasses, right? Racism don't exist in America, right? What's up, Carla? Hey, thank you for your contribution. I saw it the other night, so I appreciate you, my sister Carla Jenkins, for real. But there's no racism in America, right? You leave it to these right wing nuts and these left dingleberries, right? Oh, there's no racism in America, right? But why we got fantasy football segments being looked at as slave auctions, right? But there's no racism in America, right? Okay, get the fuck out of here. And the story, one incident last year that ricocheted around ESPN, several black employees are called emblematic of their experience at the company, right? On coverage, on a conference call, more than 200 people to discuss college football. Black employees began sharing their personal experiences with discrimination. Maria Taylor, once again, at the center of this, a fast rising star who has hosted several shows, spoke about her treatment at ESPN. She was interrupted by a white male play-by-play announcer who apparently did not realize that his microphone was not muted. The announcer, Dave Lamont, could be heard complaining to someone that the call was just a griping session for black employees, right? So let me get this straight. When we are here trying to point out that your anti-black racism, now we just sitting up here whining and bitching, right? We should supposed to just sit up here and take it. You guys get to spill your racism. We're supposed to just shut up and take it, right? Get the fuck out of here. Ain't nobody in their right mind is going to sit up here and listen to white people spew out their anti-black racism towards us and talk about we just bitching. Motherfucker, you will get bitch slapped. Now, Maria Taylor said there was a slap in the face when she was in it was horrible. And she's right. It is a part of ESPN's culture. And of course, they said, well, we looked into it and we didn't find anything there, so we're going to just move on from that. And we're not going to comment on it any further. That's the default cop-out bullshit word salad statement. Now he said he apologized for it, but for whatever reason, I have no reason to believe that. Now, Jimmy Pitaro, the ESPN's president, acknowledged that the company was not where it wanted to be on diversity, especially behind the camera, and said a frequent topic of conversations was how to make ESPN more relevant to people of color. All right, and first of all, right, as I said many, many times, I cannot stand that term people of color. What's the difference between calling someone a person of color and a colored person? What's the difference? Can someone please explain to me what's the difference between calling someone a person of color and a colored person? Because to me, those terms are one and the same. But there's no racism in America, right? And you see why we don't ask for reparations, we demand reparations. Give me my fucking money. You got this shit going on, but yet there's no racism in America, right? You leave it to jackasses like Kamala Harris and Tim Scott. These jackasses run their mouth talking about, oh, there's no racism in America. Candace Owens and Diamond and Sutton, all these other jackasses carrying water for White Daddy, talking about there's no racism in America. And you get this shit. You get Rachel Nichols running her mouth about Maria Taylor over a woman who's more qualified, more talented, younger, and people want to hear what she has to say because she's earned that right. Rachel Nichols is old, washed up, useless hag that's using her white privilege to get positions she don't deserve and she didn't earn. Obviously, the executives at ESPN chose Maria Taylor over Rachel Nichols because they saw something in her that they didn't see in Rachel Nichols. That's why she didn't get the job. But it's in my contract, and you guys are violating my contract. But so also all of a sudden now we worry about contracts, right? You guys leave companies all the time before your contract expires, right? Now all of a sudden now you worry about the contract. Knowing good and well that contracts can be broken at the flash of a lightning bolt, right? You guys get better job offers, you guys get prominent coverage, you guys get more money, and then you guys will leave at the flash of a lightning bolt. But yet you worrying about a contract, right? Get the fuck out of here. All of a sudden now you worrying about the letter of the contract. The fuck out of here, Rachel Nichols. You disgusting. Now, why do these people feel to speak out, right? They fear punishment. In a word in the Navy that when I was in the Navy, it was called, what the fuck was that word called? Not repercussions, reprisal, right? They feared reprisal. They feared if they spoke out against someone, they feared a reprisal against them. They feared that not enough black executives have real decision-making power. They did not provide meaningful career paths for black employees behind the camera and made decisions based on assumptions that his average viewer is an older white man in spite of audience trends. And it just goes on, which I don't have enough time nor patience to continue to point out, but it just goes on to show you that we have a long way to go when it comes to combating anti-black racism, right? And I'm only speaking for black people. I'm not speaking for no Latinos. I'm not speaking for no Asians. I'm not speaking for none of the motherfuckers. I'm speaking for us in the black community. Just us. You let the Latinos and Asians let their representatives speak out for their community. I'm not in a position to speak out for their community or against it. That's not my place. My place is within the black community, in the black circles, because it's the black struggle we gotta endure and persist and keep fighting for. I don't care what's going on in those other communities. Let them handle that shit. We take care of our business here. And what Rachel Nichols did, she should have been fired on the spot. She shouldn't have a job to this day. And she sure as hell shouldn't be on ESPN doing NBA coverage. People out here making these backhanded comments and spewing out their anti-black racism But yet we're gonna blame everything else instead of blaming the individual who actually make these statements. So they get the fuck out of here. So that's all I gotta say about that. Smash the like, hit the subscribe. This your boy. Scream at me. Oh!